Well, this is a nice change.
This is different, so I guess full disclosure to everybody out there, this is actually the fifth coffee with Mom. The fifth coffee with Mom. I didn't have the laptop plugged in correctly, which doesn't seem like that would be a hard thing to do, is plug the laptop in, but clearly it was, and so it went on screensaver, which then cut out the microphone. So it was 45 minutes of basically Mom and I sitting at a table making gestures to each other. So it'd be funny to do like a voiceover, I guess, of that footage, but so decided to do another fifth coffee with Mom. But this time is go get coffee with Mom, because our local Starbucks is open. They're going to be closed this weekend because of staffing, they told us. But as we talked about in Mom's fourth coffee with Mom,
yes,
that getting out and about, it's everything is hard.
It's a real pleasure though to get out.
So picked Mom up. We're going to go grab coffee with you guys, and we are probably going to talk about road trips, since we're going to do a little mini road trip here this morning to get coffee. I think I'll still go to my spot over there because I hate going left.
I know, it's a pain in the butt.
Yeah. So let's start with this first question as we take the road trip to get coffee, and then we'll take, after we get coffee, then we'll continue our little road trip. So what was one of your fondest road trips that we ever took?
Okay, that you and I.
Yeah, you and I. Yeah. Who cares
You
about
and
the
I
rest of the world?
together alone, or just on a trip?
Let's go ahead and say you and I.
Okay.
So.
Now, I need to think about that for a minute, because we took quite a few little trips.
Oh, little trips.
I think probably my most favorite one was when we were on our way up to Canada. We took a drive. You and I drove up, and we did the national parks on the way. I think about 5 or 6 of them, maybe.
Right, and so for me to look for photos that I've got, was that the Nimmo Bay trip?
Yes.
Okay,
so
that was the helicopter fishing trip, and I do remember that. So, all right, so I'll look for photos of that. So yeah, because we hit. Oh, geez, how many? That was a summer trip.
Well, I said I was going to sit down and make a list of that, and I haven't done it, but I'm going to just to kind of help remember where all we went.
Right.
But I remember that we went to Zion, Bryce. I think probably the only one we didn't. I don't think we went to the Grand Canyon, because we'd been there maybe.
Yeah, we'd been there many
times, maybe.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm trying to think of the one that has all the beautiful kind of rock designs in it. That's not, maybe that's Bryce. I don't know, but anyway, that trip was wonderful. And it was not an easy trip, because remember, that was the famous canoe. Didn't we have the canoe then? No.
No, I don't think so. That wasn't the canoe trip.
No, we did not.
That was Jackson Hole trip when we had the canoe.
But we had the dog with us. We had the little black dog with us, didn't we?
No, not the Nimmo Bay.
Okay.
No,
all right.
No, that's, yeah.
I'm getting 2 trips mixed up.
Yeah,
in
there
my
was
mind.
a trip where we did, or I would say let's do it this way, where we connected with Dad, because Dad worked in the ER all the time, so a lot of times Dad would fly up or whatever. So the one trip with the canoe was when we went through Arizona and all that to go to ended up at Jackson Hole and Yellowstone.
Yes, and we met up with Grandpa.
Right. And then the Nimmo Bay is another time we did national parks, but then we ended up in Vancouver, and we took the ferry from. Well, we went to Boeing in Seattle and all that. That's where we ended up.
I remember now. That was not. That trip was a planned trip. Like we planned to do all those parks. You and I, we were just going to take a long road trip. That's the trip where we ended up in Vegas.
Right, yeah, yep.
And then I won that jackpot, and we went on to, Universal Studios in Los Angeles and stayed there with the money.
Right, because that's the picture I have in the photos. Maybe I can find that photo. That's the photo of me with Red Sonja. Remember the actor?
Yes,
Remember when
yes,
we went to
uh-huh.
Universal? Yeah.
That was one of the highlights of our trips. I think that one. I'm trying to think what else. We took a lot of mini trips, and all of those were like fishing trips, and I'm trying to think if you and I took another big one alone. Just planned a trip.
Well, I mean, you did the Northeast when you went to that computer camp for teaching. That was a fun trip.
That's right. Yes, it was in the would it have been the
Poconos.
Pocono Mountains.
Poconos, yeah.
Up in northern New York.
Yeah.
And then we took that bus trip into New York City.
Remember the guy? We get off the bus, and the bus driver, all of a sudden there's a poor homeless guy walking down the street with his pants down around his ankles peeing, and the bus driver's like, "Welcome to New York City."
Yeah, I'm gonna have that middle.
Hi, Matt. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. What are you gonna have, Mom?
That middle size, is that?
Grande. So I'd like a grande peppermint mocha with no whip, no sprinkles, nothing, just.
All right.
And then also a grande dirty chai latte.
All right. Anything else?
That'd be all, Matt.
All right. 1101.
All right, thank you.
Oh, Matt. Your name is Matt.
Yep.
I had to cry over that the other night.
Did you?
Yeah. Just. I think it's. I don't know. Something triggered it.
I don't know. I wonder how he would handle all this mumbo jumbo going on with COVID-19 and being home with Jane and the kids.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Well, that could be the end of the beginning of the end. Remember, we're on camera.
Yeah, I know, right? Sorry.
Here's one of our tangents again.
Yeah, here it goes.
But anyway.
So out of the trips.
But I like that trip when we went to.
Oh yeah, that was a good trip too, and I'll have to see if I can find some. We have some photos.
That's when
we
ended up finding that beautiful little town in Northern California.
Oh, okay. We're back to the West Coast now, not New York.
Okay, back to New York.
Back to. So yeah, that's the story. When I was out in Utah for the training here this year. Then the gal who owned the coffee store out there in Provo, Utah, she's like, "Oh, no." I was like, asked her, "Oh, you from here?" She goes, "Oh, no, I'm from Alpine." I was like, "California?" She's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay, I gotta tell you the story about how my mom and I couldn't find a hotel room, and they said you gotta drive 3 hours or whatever it was in the middle of the night, because I would drive the car." But I was only like 15.
Yeah, you were.
I wasn't even student permit yet.
Yes, that's right.
And because like when we were in Vegas years later, I think I was 16.
But you were sound asleep in the back seat.
Well, yeah, but on that trip when we ended up in Vegas after you won, well, heck, I was basically this size already, so I didn't gamble like at the tables. I would play like the
slot machines,
little slots and the video poker, but they would still like, "You want a drink?" And then back in those days, they had the little sandwiches they would also bring around for free in the casino. So I basically just had like Coke and soft drinks and ate the sandwiches while you actually gambled.
I know you were. I remember we were in Circus.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because kids could be there. And
it didn't really look out of place. Yeah,
that was cool.
Yeah.
Now the New York trip was interesting. That was where I met his first name was Mike. Remember, he was a runner-up for to go into space, teacher in space.
Oh yeah, with Christian McCullough. Yeah.
That was an
STS 51L.
I can't even remember. I can't even imagine that I went to a computer camp. Remember, I taught computer.
I know.
That's why. That's frightening. But anyway.
Oh, am I buying too? I have to buy also?
No. No, you don't.
It's 11:00. Oh, I had the one. I got the one.
Oh, good show.
Yeah.
Let's see. What is it? Let's Is there a 10 in all these ones? Oh, let's see how many ones I've got.
Well, you have so many ones. Mom, have been going to the mail review? Huh? Slipping the dollars and the G-strings?
I have 9. Here.
Pretty good. Thank you for being open.
What do you need?
It's 11:01.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Are you Matt?
Hmm?
Oh, you're not Matt. You're Richard.
No, I'm not.
There's that one. And oh,
Well, I guess I'm mad someday.
oh yeah. All right.
Straw.
Oh yeah. Get my junk out of the way.
That's fine. You can just
Yeah.
put on my tissue. So I just.
And can we have a straw, please? One straw.
You got it. You want a green one or?
That's perfect. No, that's perfect. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Color doesn't matter.
Okay.
Anyway, yes, that guy on the street. That's
Oh, the
talking about your
Good
hike.
Friday. So the pilgrimages are out.
Oh, look.
You guys can't see it, but we got the I guess
The Roman
the
soldiers
Romans and
Christ carrying a
the church,
cross.
yeah. Well, these people are. But I have to admit, there's only 3 of them, and they're 6 feet apart. So. But his little cross has got wheels, so he's cheap.
Well, it's probably hollow.
Oh,
What you
yeah.
think? Styrofoam. So where are we making our road trip?
I don't
to?
know. I thought we could just
We could
drive around. We could go drive by the peach stand
and
and
we
see what
can
that's
just
like.
tell everybody some of our little favorite places
Yeah,
here.
little places. So, what was your of the trips? What's like a memory that you, I guess for a better term, haven't forgotten? Like that, right?
Yeah, right.
That's like really stands
Exactly.
out.
Yes.
Maybe that you think about often or something like that. Of our road trips.
Well, I think just because we were going through pictures the other day,
Uh huh.
I was thinking about that, and you taking your hikes, and I thought, oh, remember that hike we took? We went from, I don't know if it was Broadway or whatever, down to Ellis Island to go to the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
That was like a 6 mile or
Yeah.
12 mile or
Right.
whatever. And then
Whatever
we
it
had to
was.
walk back,
Yeah, no, yeah.
and we walked back.
But on that day, whatever that day was, we were you were number 2. I was the first person up the top of the Statue of Liberty that day.
That's right. We actually went all the way to the observation deck, which that was quite a trip. No wonder we were so pooped.
Yeah.
We hiked and then we went up a
Climbed.
spiral staircase.
Yeah.
Another trip, and Cindy was with us. It wasn't just you and me.
Uh-huh.
And this is not when you were young, but our trip to London
Oh.
was a fantastic trip.
we-
I think
yeah.
about that often.
You do that.
Yeah, because I drink out of the mugs a lot. that I
Right,
got
yeah,
at
sure.
Harrods when
Right.
we went.
Yeah.
And I'm down to 2, so
Oh.
you need to go back. I would love to go back, but there's no way.
Yeah.
But,
that literally might kill you.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be a good way to go, I guess.
Oh, I don't know that, But that was a wonderful trip. That trip.
Yeah, so we took, so on that trip, for everybody else, just kind of give a summary, we did London at Christmas time. In London, well, actually it was Westminster. I mean, it was actually Westminster where we stayed, but I mean, everybody just calls it London, but I mean, it's down in the thick of the stuff. We actually stayed at the Charing Cross Station Hotel.
Yes.
We did not know that Christmas Eve and Christmas, London shuts down.
Literally.
Like nobody. Like
No
I Am
cabs.
Legend,
Yeah.
right? The Omega Man, like zombie apocalypse, not even zombie apocalypse, like just
Yeah. No zombies.
no zombies. There was nobody. We were struggling to find a place to eat that wasn't in the hotel.
That's right. Oh well.
And
And
the hotel was like, well,
yeah, we walked forever. We are now, for those that are listening or watching, we are now in Fort Mill, which is actually the little town of Fort Mill. There is one, and it's a neat little downtown there. It's kind of compressed, but it's neat little shops.
But unlike so many of the other old dead railroad towns in the Carolinas, because of all the mills and this one's been revitalized, so it's got well, we'll see. It was revitalized.
Yeah.
We'll see after all of this what happens. But
Has some neat little restaurants and.
Mhm.
But anyway, what trip were we talking about? The London trip.
Yeah, London trip.
All that
and
walking
food and
and-
walking and
Well, and
yeah.
we were trying to, like you said, we were trying to find a place open, and finally did. And I was so tired. Oh, and of
Well, yeah,
course
'cause
that was the beginning of my hip
Yeah.
problem.
Yep.
All that walking and stuff.
Yep.
But well, Hobos is open for pickup.
Yeah. Yep. Surreal, but yeah. So yeah, this is what London looked like.
Oh,
that
there
trip.
was-
I mean, it
now,
was bad.
a car
Well, yeah,
just-
we just saw we saw a human.
A car just passed
Yeah.
us. Well,
And so yeah, one of my obviously is going even back to the first trip you kind of talked about, which was the the flying fishing, the Nemo Bay, the helicopter fishing. Just because it's combined like almost everything that at that time in my life that I enjoyed doing, which was fishing, trips, flying. I remember Peter.
oh, for Pete's
That's
sake.
the helicopter pilot's
Yes,
name.
it was.
Yeah. So what is this now? 33 so years later?
I think you were 16
Yeah.
when we went on that trip.
Yep. Yeah, that was good. Remember we chased, I know this is going to sound horrible to everybody, and you guys can leave comments, but remember when in the helicopter we basically, and it was pretty amazing two amazing things that happened to us. When we chased the bald eagles in the helicopter,
Oh,
remember that we're down low on the
yes.
riverbed? It was
Uh-huh.
like, you put that to like the music from like Apocalypse Now,
Oh,
then that
from
would
Top Gun or
yeah, or something.
something.
Yeah, that would have been awesome if I still had that footage. But then you and I feeding the bald eagle. Remember that?
Oh, the fishing in the boat? The
Yeah, that
fishing.
was when we were in the boat. Remember, and you
Yeah.
caught that rockfish, and
And
they were like, and he's like, oh, and there's an eagle in the tree. Remember? And we're like,
Yeah.
oh, let's feed the eagle. And so, and if you've never really been around bald eagles are a huge bird. This is not, but in Canada, in British Columbia, everything looks small because the land is so big. The
Yeah.
trees are big, the mountains
There's
are big.
nothing to give you perspective.
Exactly. So Mom throws this rockfish, this junk fish, into the water, and the bald eagle is up in the tree, and he's just looking down like,
I don't eat those.
yeah, that's crap fish. You don't want it. I sure as hell don't want it. But then, out of nowhere,
And coming from the side.
comes another bald eagle in full flight, literally does a perfect left-hand traffic pattern, flies right over us, drops his claws.
Talons.
Oh yeah, and then literally, I don't know, we want to say 50 feet or so in front of us, just comes and picks up the fish, and then we realize, oh, that's a pretty big fish though, because that fish he had a hard time.
Yeah,
he had to get over by the cliff to get
He
up.
had a hard time getting back into
Yeah.
what do I want to say? Altitude.
Yeah. Because then he got over by a cliff, I think, with the wind, and then it took him up. And
Oh,
then,
it was
Yeah, that
scary, but it was fantastic.
oh yeah, that was.
When he flew so close to us, I thought, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I was, and I have a fear of birds to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, oh God, please don't land in my hair.
Oh yeah. Oh, I did you wrong one time in Houston at the zoo.
Oh, you were awful. That was not one of my favorite memories.
Yeah, exactly. The Houston Zoo had a new, a nocturnal exhibit with, of course, bats, and it had they built a cave. And Mom doesn't do bats, she doesn't do birds, especially when she can't see them. And so she's standing in the middle of this whole atrium, staying away from all the animals basically. And then I just come up behind her, right in her hair. Oh my God! I think it was a scream that. I'm sure you did. Yeah.
I mean, yes, I did. I had people wondering what was going on. I'm surprised we didn't have zoo officials coming to see what happened.
Absolutely. But so there's, but I the other ones that I do remember, and they're kind of like little.
Are you drinking my drink? No.
Yeah, I am.
No. Okay. No, you know. Well, this
Here.
tastes different.
No, you want to drink yours. Take your damn straw.
No.
I wasn't even paying attention to what I was drinking. That's your peppermilk.
Yeah.
Yeah, take your straw and give me my.
I thought you were teasing me. Is this my drink? Like, oh, are you crazy, Mom? Of course I know my drink. I thought, this sure doesn't taste
You know,
like pepper.
Mom, you had one job on this trip,
Yeah.
just to make sure
Okay.
we were drinking the right drinks. Sorry.
Well, hey, I did it.
You did it. You figured it
Of
out.
course, mine's half gone.
I know. Didn't you want a tall?
Yeah, it's a good thing I got a bigger one this time. But knowing you,
Ah, there we go. There's my dirty chai latte. Ah,
I'm surprised you didn't say something like this doesn't taste right.
Well, no, because peppermint mocha used to be my
Favorite.
favorite. I think it was Cindy that turned me on to peppermint mochas. Then I maybe turned you on to peppermint mochas.
yeah.
Now Cindy's turned me on to dirty chai lattes.
Well, yeah, I'm not turning on to that.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So it's
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, you didn't really like it. With the tea?
I'd rather have this. When I have tea, I want tea. You know.
Right. Yeah, I got you. I understand. Sure.
I don't want-
Sure. Well, that's pretty.
God, it's a gorgeous day.
It is a gorgeous day. Oh, just so you know, this building coming up here that stands alone at the top of the hill on the left, that's the gal and her partner and all that make my swag, make my hats.
Oh, really?
Yeah, right here. Names in a hurry. Right there.
Right there.
Yeah, right there. Names in a hurry. It's their little business.
Oh, good darn.
Yeah, I emailed her and asked her if everybody was healthy and stuff. She says, yeah. 'Cause I do have an order in
Well, that's
for the
good.
t-shirts. My "You Are Amazing" t-shirts. But, you know, obviously, shit's happening in the world.
Okay, back to the.
Okay, so,
Okay, we were talking about.
but all of us, a lot of there's little spotty, I guess I'll say, memories of you and I just, like I said, fishing buddies. You know, like, you know, because I didn't capture it. Well, I did capture it, but I didn't get the audio in the fifth Coffee with Mom, which is both of us didn't really actually like fishing a lot with Grandpa and Dad, at least when they were together, because all they did was talk about politics and bitch and moan.
Oh yeah, we didn't like to be in the boat with them.
Right. So you and I basically ended up being fishing buddies.
Well, and
all
we
the
were,
time.
and we actually could catch some fish. I don't know if it was.
Yeah, there we go.
I don't know if it was the way.
Clink.
I
Yep.
don't know if it was the way they fished or what. I think it was all that political discussion.
Yeah.
The
Well,
fish-
yeah, they did a bunch of other bullshit instead of fishing. I mean, fishing's pretty damn
attention.
easy. To catch a fish, you gotta put your damn lure in the water.
Bait in the water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really know where I'm going now, so
Okay, good, because I don't think. What is this road?
this is, I don't know, Rosemont. Probably goes into a subdivision, but it's my life. Turn on some air. I need some air.
There's an Empire Pizza.
Woohoo! So, let's see what else for me. But yeah, so I mean, because like when Grandpa would fit, you know, for some reason, and Grandpa was a urologist, and so obviously, you know, surgeon and that type of stuff. But I mean, I remember a story with Grandpa. Yes, it goes in the subdivision. This is not.
What
gonna be
is this
exciting.
thing over here on our left?
Probably medical, because we're all addicted to not dying. So
College.
I don't know.
York Medic-
Yep,
oh.
it is technical.
Oh,
You're right. College. York Technical College.
I've seen signs
Yeah.
for that.
Okay. Yeah, subdivision. I'm just gonna turn around.
Okay.
We'll work our way back.
Okay.
And but I remember for some reason Grandpa seemed, and this is just in my memory, and it probably is not as often as I thought, but it always seemed like he would stick himself with the damn lures,
Oh.
like get the fish hook stuck in him. And I remember.
Well, he did that several times.
Yeah, no,
And Dad would have to cut the barb and.
Well,
get
I
it-
remember one trip, and I don't know which one it was. Maybe it was the Northern Territory trip when we flew up there. Maybe one of our last big flying trips up there in the northern, you know, territories of Canada, where Grandpa got his. It was like a Merrill lure that we were using, I think, to catch northern pike. And Grandpa got one of the 3 treble hooks of the Merrill lure stuck in his thumb, and he spent an hour. Where, you know, Dad would be like, "Dad, just push the hook through, right? Cut the barb off, and then pull the hook back through the right." You know, I remember Grandpa, "Hell no, I'm not fucking up a perfectly good lure," like that. So Grandpa he spent an hour fishing the hook back through with the barb on.
Yeah.
You know, but there were a lot of funny memories though from those. But I mean, like going back to you and I when we did I think it was Zion, right, with the river trail. That was in Zion.
That was a good memory.
That was a good memory too, where the trail literally the trail goes down to the river, and it's like, okay, this is the trail. It's the river. But and there's places where the canyon that the river has cut through, you put your hands on either side, and that's it.
There was one narrow
man.
spot where I thought, oh my.
Yeah.
But I had started getting. I did have a walking stick with me, but
I got a picture of you, so
I
we can maybe find that.
I remember thinking as it got around my waist,
Right.
are we really on a trail here?
Right.
And then we went a little further, and then it got better.
Right, yep.
As the canyon kind of opened up, and you could get closer to the wall where it wasn't quite as deep.
Yep.
And, of course, you didn't have any problem because you were tall enough.
Right. Yeah.
think-
Waist deep to me is, or
Yeah.
to you is.
It was up to my shoulders. At one spot, I think it did get
Oh
up to my armpits.
We did like full. I mean, it was And then we were like, okay, because people were like, oh, you can keep going. Like, nah, I don't think so. Now a little mini road trip that we did, a mini road trip while we were on a trip, has 2 stories on it, and that's the moped trip in Hawaii
Oh my God.
when we drove over to the Black
That's
Sand
not one
Beach.
of my favorite memories.
No, but
either.
but when we drove over to the Black Sand Beach first to go snorkeling.
Yes.
And then we're like, remember there was a sign that was facing out to the water, and we're like, what's the sign say? And we go read the sign, and the sign is like, swim and snorkel at your own risk. There's a bunch of sharks in the water. Remember that? And we're like, why? And we're like, why is the sign facing out toward the water?
Yeah, really.
Instead of the parking lot.
Of course, it probably did at one time.
Yeah, maybe it did at one time.
But
That was pretty funny.
I remember that because that's the closest I ever came face to face with a barracuda. Was on that,
Oh, huh?
and that was scary. I mean, I'd seen barracudas close when we've been on sailing trips.
Right,
but,
sure.
But I mean, I was a little bit scared snorkeling there.
Oh yeah.
But
Those cudas, man, they're bullies. That's what we used to call them, bullies. 'Cause
Yeah,
they just look at you like with
no,
all
I
gnarly
didn't have,
teeth.
and I knew not to have anything shiny on.
Right.
I know
Oh yeah.
that.
Yeah. You were experienced. I mean,
But,
it's not like you hadn't done this before.
But
Oh, and then the other story on the moped road trip is, Mom got, I don't know what actually happened. Did you get like confused on how to stop or in that big busy intersection?
What happened was I was coming downhill.
Mm.
I was braking, but I was going downhill, so I picked up speed, and I realized I had to turn left to get back to our
Condo area.
and so I tried to go ahead and turn left because I had the light.
Right.
So I made this big fast left turn, and that was my mistake, and went flying off of the moped went. There was a truck parked on the side of the road. I guess it was broke down or something, and that didn't sound right. It must have broken down. Anyway, so I flew into
Like you were
the
about
bumper.
to, like you were about to do, and about 5 seconds later.
and I hit the bumper with my head.
Yep.
I had a cut, but I was very fortunate on that because that could have been.
I think I drove down back to like the moped base and get Dad and all that.
And well, you went down and the guy came up and got. No, did you come back and get the bike? Somebody came.
No, I didn't get the bike. So I went to the base or whatever. The
and
office.
Anyway, that could have been a real disastrous trip, but.
But I don't know which road trip it was, but let's flip the tables. Mom saved somebody in a parking lot of a grocery store on one of our road trips.
Okay, you've got that partially right. We were in the parking lot of the train system. That was that computer trip.
Oh, was that Poconos?
We were going to Washington, D.C.
Must
And we were
Proud to
going
be
to take, what's the rapid transit thing?
Oh, yeah.
We were going to take that,
Yeah,
and we went to the parking lot, and we were coming through the parking lot, and we heard this girl screaming.
Mm-hmm.
And anyways, so it wasn't a grocery store, it was the parking lot of the rapid transit.
Good. All right.
So, and we thought, I gave him mouth to mouth.
Yep. It was amazing to watch. It was scary because I was a kid. I really didn't know,
And I told you, I said, okay, you go tell the ambulance where we are
Yep.
to get you away.
Yeah. It was amazing. So.
But
goosebumps, Mom.
Oh.
Well done. Well done, Mom. Chink.
Chink. But yeah, that was, and then the paramedics came, and then we just got on the train.
We got on the train, went
went
to
on our
DC.
merry way. We never. Well, we did find out though, because his girlfriend. I think he diabetic? No, because I didn't smell that his breath was.
Yeah, it was like for some reason in my memory, like you told me later on, like it was like he had like a big grand mal seizure
Maybe
or
that's
something.
what. Maybe he was epileptic.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it was.
Something like that. That's what it was my, so. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah,
Yeah.
that was. There you go. Yes.
Mhm. So let's see, bucket list, create a life, check. Save a life, check. Of course, you probably did it many times.
Well,
but that was out in the open.
But I
That
was expected to do that in the
Yeah,
hospital,
right.
not out in a parking lot.
Yeah, that's. All right, so let's as we work our way back to your condo area, and then probably here cut off. We can continue our road trip, and then we'll just cut off the camera. All right, so we can really talk shit about people. But
Oh, neat treehouse.
oh yeah, that is cute.
That
We had
is-
shingles and
yeah.
cider shingles and all that.
And
Wow, my tree
and a-
house
and a
in Minnesota
flower-
didn't look that good.
and a flower box on the window.
So let's talk recent road trip.
Okay.
Your last time to Disney.
Oh my. I still think about. I thought, boy, those kids are wonderful to take me on a trip like that and be so patient.
Well, it was only so good because I did try to drive off with you standing on the running boards of the truck for the condo that morning.
Oh, I'd kind of forgotten about that.
And Ruthie is all like, wait, and you're hanging off the damn truck. I was like, what? Oh shit, Mom's not in. Oh yeah, that was good. That ended up being a fantastic trip.
Oh my.
That was.
Yes, that was.
Yeah. So the funny story about that, and I think you have the pin. Do you still have the pin?
Yeah, it's in
your
the
shadow
shadow
box.
box.
I'll have to maybe get footage with the camera so I can show people. But so for me, one of the funniest stories. I mean, they were wonderful and let's call it Disney magical moments on that trip. Like every day, multiple ones. But the favorite was, so we had our hopper passes or whatever you call them down there, the tickets, and they were will calls. So we decided to go to Animal Kingdom, I think, to go to Pandora. That's
Yeah,
what you really wanted to see was
that's
the
what-
Avatar Pandora
That's why
stuff.
you guys took me,
Yeah.
because Avatar opened.
Yep. And so we go to Animal Kingdom, we pick up the tickets, and I see that they have the little pin for people that says like first visit. So, and as you know from these coffees with Mom's got all kinds of problems. The main one just being old.
Yes.
And
that's-
so
well, that's.
I asked-
We had just found out that I had the kidney disease, the progressive kidney
yeah.
disease.
And so I asked the guys, hey, can you take a marker and cross out first visit and put last visit? And he's like, no, but I can give you the pin. So I crossed out first visit. So Mom walked around Disney with a pin that said last visit. And it's the truth. I mean, it's...
We thought it would be.
Yeah.
I mean, it is the last visit to Disney.
Yeah, because we're thinking about doing other things now, but she got so many miles because of that pin, because people were oh my God, it's a funny joke, and Mom's like, and all of a sudden they get the story, and eventually on that trip, when somebody would be like, what does your pin say last visit? Then like Ruth and John and Cindy and I, we'd just disperse, and we'd be like, let her take, here comes the story, right? And then you had cast members and tears.
Steve.
And, Steve, that's Steve.
Yeah.
Steve, yeah, he was wonderful.
He
He was a wonderful human.
He really was.
I mean, we rode the Flight of the Avatar, Banshee or whatever ride 3 times in one day, like opening month or whatever.
Not only in one day, but
Twice.
consecutively.
Yeah, well,
No, we went.
twice we did it consecutive. The first time, but then we went and had lunch, and then we were like, what do you want to do with your other... Because they kept giving Mom the whatever the what are the pass,
Free pass
the fast pass. They kept giving her unlimited fast pass. That was like what they could give her. So I'm gonna give you unlimited fast pass, good for your stay. And so we had all these fast passes. I was like, what do you want to do, Mom? She's like, I want to go ride that ride again. Because when I rode that Banshee ride, and I'm a flying guy, and that's where I thought I'd be doing in my life, and that's still somewhat of my interest and passion and all that. But I literally cried after that ride. That was one of the best flying rides I had ever.
I mean, you're sitting on a shaking seat.
Right, I know, yeah, the mechanics
watching
of it. A full.
What do you call those when you go to?
Yeah, I don't know. IMAX kind of thing,
Yeah.
And then the Banshee, the mechanism makes it feel like it's breathing between your legs. Oh my God,
it was something else.
That was a miss. So that was a.
The Disney,
that was
of course, the
trip.
Disney trip. Yes.
Yeah, that was most recent. So, well, that's probably a good place to end the fifth coffee with Mom, and then we can.
And we're right back where
We're
we
very, very close. So, all right.
Our area.
Well, thanks for joining us, everybody.
See ya. Happy road
Bye.
trips.
We are heroes tonight, yeah. We are heroes tonight.